Praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Kakadash. No one to the apostle as a great millstone that grew well, so I take all the occupation, swerves, sincerity, and true respectful birds, women and children that's listening and learning. I'm going to say Shalom. I'm going to say Brakatah Yahweh, Brakatah Yahweh Shai, Brakatah Yahweh, Brakatah Yahweh Shai, Brakatah Yahweh, Brakatah Yahweh Shai. The water Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh Shai, coming at you again today with another lesson, man. And, we're going to call this fornication is not sex. Fornication is not sex before marriage, right? Fornication is considered having sex and not being married, and that's incorrect, right? So sex is marriage according to the scripture. So we're gonna prove that in this lesson, right? Because people are not understanding what the meaning of fornication is. You know what I'm saying? The modern day time that we live in the Christianity world, they believe that we have to have a marriage ring put on the woman's finger, right? And you got to bow down and have a ceremony and all this stuff to be married. And you can't have sex because that's committing fornication. That's incorrect. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna prove this. You know what I'm saying? The true way of marriage according to these scriptures, right? Because in the ancient world, it was originally where you have intimacy with that woman, and she would become your wife. You know what I'm saying? They would take the blood of the wife, because the woman would be a virgin, right? Which is a damsel. And when you would pretty much pop a cherry, right, like they would say, and the blood would be on the sheets, and you would take that blood back to the Levitical priest, and that would announce the marriage. But in today's society, they have it where you get on one knee, like I said, you bow to the woman and shit, and you got she got a wedding dress, you got a tie on, you got the ring ready, you walk down the aisle, you say, oh, we married, and then you kiss, and then you jump the broom. And then you go down and sign a piece of paper. But marriage is actually sex according to the scriptures. You're going to have, you know what I'm saying, people going to be all, no, that ain't right, that ain't it, and all that stuff. But your opinion, we don't give a fuck. The Lord don't give a fuck. We dealing with the scriptures. You know what I'm saying? We're not dealing with modern day society right now today, what's going on. This is the ancient world of the customs of the Israelites, man. You know what I'm saying? The way how it's supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? Not about today. Today's all fucked up. You know what I'm saying? You think in the present times right now, it's the ancient days, and the ancient days is way different than the times of today. You know what I'm saying? So true marriage, according to the scriptures, right, is sex. You know what I'm saying? So you can believe it or not, but this is for those who trying to get edified. This is 1 Corinthians 7:1, right? It says, now concerning the things now that ye wrote unto me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman, right? Continue verse 2. It says, nevertheless, to avoid fornication. Now, why did it say in verse 1, now concerning the things whereof you wrote unto me, it is not good for a man. It is good for a man not to touch a woman, right? So when you read verse 2, it says, nevertheless, to avoid fornication, adultery is fornication, right? So it's sleeping with another man's wife. So we're going to get into that meaning real quick, but let me read this. It says, nevertheless, to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife. He said, let every man have his own right, and every woman have her own husband. So when you commit adultery, that's fornication. So when you go into meaning of word fornication, it goes into G4202, which is pornaya. Pornaya, I hope I'm saying it right. Pornaya, right? Yeah, pornaya, something like that. So when you go to fornication in the Greek, we go to G4202, which is pornaya. So this is the correct pronunciation for fornication, right? It says, outline of biblical usage. It said illicit sexual intercourse, right? So some of these meanings are wrong. Like how it says illicit sexual intercourse, that's incorrect. You know what I'm saying? And this is how we know it's incorrect. Check this out. A, it says adultery, right? Adultery is fornication. What is adultery? Sleeping with another man's woman, all right? That's adultery. So say a man has a wife, and you take pleasure in sleeping with that man's wife, you committed adultery, man, which is what? A fornication. It's fornication. Fornication is adultery. You know what I'm saying? It says adultery. Fornication, right? Which fornication is adultery. Homosexuality, that's fornication. So that a man sleeping with another man, I mean, some man sleeping with a man, a woman sleeping with a woman, that's fornication. Lesbianism, that's the same thing. That's fornication. You know what I'm saying? Intercourse with animals, you know what I'm saying? Bestiality, that's fornication. Sexual intercourse with close relatives. You know, sleeping with your brother's wife, with your father's wife. You know what I'm saying? You know, let's say your father has even though he's not with your mother no more, but he gets a new woman and you sleep with his wife. That's fornication, right? Or sleeping with your sister-in-law. That's fornication. You know what I'm saying? Sexual intercourse with close relative, right? That's fornication. It says sexual intercourse with a divorced man or woman, right? It says metaphor, the worship of idols. That's fornication, man. So if you worship a false god, a false deity, that's fornication. So these are the principles of true fornication according to the scriptures, man. Not having sex before being married, that's not fornication. That's also actually marriage according to the scriptures. Say, now, all these things that I'm listening, A, B, C, D, that's all fornication. That's all true fornication. Sexual intercourse with a divorced man or woman, that's fornication. Because according to the scriptures, right, a woman is not supposed to be getting remarried or being with another man till her husband is dead. He has to be dead. You know what I'm saying? So like, if a woman had a husband and he died, right? So now, if he's dead, she's able to remarry. You know what I'm saying? And if she divorced, right? You're not even supposed to be dealing with this woman because her husband's still alive. So that's why I say sexual intercourse with a divorced man or woman, right? Because a woman, she can't be, according to the scripture, she's not supposed to be another man till the man is deceased. If a man is not deceased and he's still on earth and you get with another man, you can get with another man, you're committing adultery. You cannot be with another man till he's deceased, according to the Bible, according to the scriptures. Not what they talking about what today, what the law say today. You can do whatever the hell you want to today, man. You can do, hey, you can get married today, get divorced tomorrow, get married the next day, and get divorced again, and it's okay. I say verse 2, say worshiping of idols, like we worshiping other gods, right? That's a form of idolatry, right? You know what I'm saying? So again, like I said, that's all the listings of fornication that I just gave you, man. Just look it up and you'll know. So fornication is sleeping with close relatives, sleeping with another man's wife, worshiping idols, you know what I'm saying, doing sacrifices and worship to other idols, that's fornication. Sexuality, homosexuality, that's fornication. Lesbianism, that's fornication, according to the scriptures. Read it again, right? It says, 1 Corinthians 1, it says, now concerning things that you wrote unto me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman, right? So basically, it's good for a man not to touch, because it's saying in verse 2, because even in our time right now, majority of all these women have slept with a man. It's hard to find a woman that's a virgin, man. And most of these women in society today, they already been touched, man, used up already. So all of us right now at this present time is committing adultery, man. But see, we have grace. Now, we don't go around here just committing automatic adultery. We're going around literally sleeping with some other man's wife, knowing that she married. No, according to the scriptures, that woman's single and she got a baby daddy and you sleeping with her and you get her pregnant, you committed adultery, man, according to the scriptures. That woman's husband is still alive, man. So you're committing adultery. You can be... It said that's why that's why we pray and ask the Lord for mercy, because we know that we're in Esau's kingdom, man, and we in his captivity. So it's gonna be hard to find a woman that's a virgin, man. So it says concerning the things that he wrote unto me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman, right? So it says by these things, it's good for a man not to touch a woman. You know what I'm saying? Because these women of the day, they already been touched, they already been used, man. That's why the Lord say that, man. You know what I'm saying? Most of them got baby daddies. Most of them hookers and fuck trillion niggas already. So, verse 2, it says, nevertheless, to avoid fornication, which is adultery, man. That's why it says it's good for a man not to touch a woman, right? Because you want to avoid fornication, man, which is adultery. It says, let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband. See how the scriptures say that? That's why it's good for a man not to touch a woman, man, because it is considered fornication, man. If she has a husband, if she got a man in her life, even if she broke up with that man is still alive. That's committing adultery. But again, at the same time, this is why we're in the temple of grace and we ask the Lord for mercy. We don't go around just intentionally doing this shit. You know what I'm saying? Other sleeping with other men's wives. We don't do that. But in general, that woman may be single, but she had another husband or a baby daddy somewhere that she's supposed to stay with that man. Even though she's single and not with that man, if we take that woman, that's still committing adultery, man. Because that man is not deceased. He's still here on this earth, man. But we can't get over righteous either. So let's see. This is Genesis 24 and 63. It says, and Isaac went out. It's like Isaac went out to meditate in the field at the evening time, and he lifted his eyes and saw, and behold, camels were coming. Right, and this is when Isaac saw a camel, right, and Rebecca was riding that camel. Okay, because it says Isaac went out to meditate in the field. Hold on. Okay, it says, and Isaac went out to meditate in the field at the evening time, right? So again, this is when Isaac at his mother's tent, man, near his mother's tent, right? And Father Abraham sent one of his servants to get a wife for his son, Isaac, right? So this is what's going into. So we're going to see if Isaac got on one knee, they had a ceremony, he had a ring, a kiss, and jumped the broom. Did they do that, or did they have sex? You know what I'm saying? Because they don't talk about wedding rings or none of that. Isaac pretty much took Rebecca in his mama's tent, and she became his wife. So that means they had sex. Genesis 24:63. It says, and Isaac went out to meditate in the field at evening time, and he lifted up his eyes and saw, and behold, the camels were coming. 64. And Rebecca lifted up her eyes, and when she saw Isaac, she lightened off the camel. Right? It says, verse 65, for she had said unto the servant, what man is that walketh in the field to meet us? And then Rebecca, she was like, ooh, who is this nigga? Oh, god damn, he fine as hell. Right? That's when she asked the servant. The servant had said, it is my master. Therefore she took a veil and covered herself. So you see that? You see that how modest she was in the ancient times, boy? She'd cover herself in the ancient world. Today, they like, hell no, let it all hang out, boy. You hear me? The old hoo-ha. But in the ancient world, man, they was more in order. They was more modest in those times, man. It says, and the servant had said, it is my master. Therefore, she took a veil and covered herself, right? Verse 66. And the servant told Isaac all the things he had done. It's verse 67, right? He said, and Isaac brought her into his mother's tent, and into his mother Sarah's tent, right? And he took Rebecca, and she became his wife. How did she become his wife? He took her into that tent, and he laid down with her. He had sex intercourse with her, and she became his wife. It wasn't no ring ceremony. It was none of that. This is the ancient world customs, right? It wasn't no wedding rings or none of that. Let's go back to the what's that custom of the heathen, man? There wasn't no wedding rings in the time of Isaac and all the Israelite men. They weren't doing that back then. There was no wedding rings, all that. Those are all the customs of the heathen, the Hamites. Those are their customs, wedding rings and all that. Let's all go back to ancient Egypt. Hold up. All right, I'm back. So I've said Those are customs of the heathens, right? The Hamites, right? Those are their customs, wedding rings and all that. That always goes back to ancient Egypt customs, right? You can look it up. You know what I'm saying? The first wedding ring was by Pharaoh. You know what I'm saying? That's not an Israelite custom, man. We didn't do wedding ceremonies with rings and all that. We didn't do all that. You know what I'm saying? We didn't do it in the ancient world. It says Isaac brought her into his mother Sarah's tent and took Rebekah, and she became his wife. So she became his wife by what? Intimacy, right? Sexual intercourse. And it says he loved her, and Isaac was comforted after his mother's death. See that? So what's the true way of marriage? Sex. Okay? Sex is marriage according to the scriptures. Sex is marriage, and according to the scriptures, that's what it is. Plain and simple, man. No ifs, and no buts. Sex before marriage is not fornication. Sex before marriage is marriage. Sex is marriage. Plain and simple. See, you say, uh, that's actually, like I said, marriage according to the scripture. And ancient, it was very sacred. For ancient times, it was very sacred. Today, this shit ain't sacred at all. These niggas get married today, divorced tomorrow, married again the next day, and then divorced again, man. It's not sacred like it was in the ancient world. In ancient customs, back in our own homeland, and our own Hebrew ceremony traditions and stuff like that, the order was way different, man. You just couldn't go around, sleeping around doing all that. Man, we was under the laws, man. We go to the book of Leviticus, right? Or you go to the book of Deuteronomy, that's in the 22nd chapter. There was a specific order on how things are supposed to be done. Matter of fact, let me see. Let me find this one in the 22nd chapter, right? Yeah. This one in Deuteronomy 22nd chapter. Yeah, because this Lord always give us a way how to deal, period. You know what I'm saying? It's a way how to deal with a woman. You know what I'm saying? In the ancient world, the customs, right? It says, verse 22, it says, if a man be found lying with a woman married to a husband, this is a woman that's married to another man, because she's betrothed to be engaged to another man, right? It said, if a man be found lying with a woman married to a husband, then they shall be both of them die, both the man that lie with the woman and the woman. And so that put away evil from Israel, right? So you couldn't be caught committing adultery, man. You'd be put to death for that. That man and that woman be put to death. And so you couldn't commit adultery. And so that stuff is very serious in the ancient world, man. That's a sin. That's an iniquity. That's breaking a commandment. So you couldn't be doing that. It was a way to how to deal with. There's always an order how things are going to be done, period. You know what I'm saying? It's an order for everything. Everything, man. It's the way you got to do it. Verse 23, it says, if a damsel that is a virgin be betrothed, meaning engaged unto another husband, right? And a man find her in the city and lie with her, verse 24, then he shall bring them both out unto the gate of the city, right? And ye shall stone them with stones that they die. So they're just going into fornication, which is what? Adultery, man. So adultery been mentioned in the scriptures. That's why you're not supposed to be doing that. You could be destroyed for that. You know, sleeping with another man's wife. Yeah, don't get me wrong. You got women out there that's not with their baby daddies. That's what they call them, baby daddies, their husbands, whoever. But they single, and we take them women, we be with them women, right? But we are committing adultery because, according to the scriptures, because their husband is not, their man is not deceased. He's not dead. But that situation there, she's not with her husband at all. They're not together, none of that. And you take her, and you take that woman that is adultery, but at the same time, we're not going around, she's in a relationship and we sleeping with her. That's the difference. That's the difference. You know what I'm saying? And even though you might have a woman that's single and she's not with her baby daddy at all, you know what I'm saying? She's I'm single, I'm by myself. So we can deal with that woman. You know what I'm saying? That's why we got grace, because we in captivity. But you're not supposed to be with her though, according to the scriptures. But this is why we had tempered grace. We're not gonna be able to find a woman that's a virgin in society, man. It ain't gonna happen. It's a the damsel is virgin should be betrothed, and the man found her in the city and shall lie with her. Verse 24. And it said, then ye shall bring them both out to the city of the gate, right? He said, bring them both out unto the gate of that city, and ye shall stone them both with stones that ye may die. He said, and the damsel is a young woman, right? And he said, because she have cried not, being in the city, is crying out. She ain't cry. She ain't cry out. She ain't cry not. She just slept with that man. You know what I'm saying? And that man, because he have humbled his neighbor's wife, he committed adultery. Fornication is adultery. You know what I'm saying? So thou shalt put away evil from among them. So you see how it was, you women out there that's committed adultery right now? If we was in the ancient world, you'd be put to death already. Because that's adultery. You have a man, you sleeping, you're in a relationship with that man, right? And you're the same house with this man, and you out here sneaking out, sleeping with somebody else. You're supposed to be put to death. But we can't do this in the side because we in captivity. We're not in our land. But if we was in our land, hey, that man and that woman gonna be put to death. You know what I'm saying? You be put to death for that shit, man. But here in Esau world, guess what? It is what it is. You can do what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? You can be as you want to do as thou wilt. Spirit in America, man. We're brainwashed to believe that the wickedness that Esau's put up on us, groomed us to be, it's okay. Like I said, when you talk about something like a lie, they never need no understanding of a lie. But the truth, you need all the proof in the world to show and tell them the truth. But they just easily just believe the lie. The truth is what they fight. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, we can't be over righteous. You know what I'm saying? We don't deal with women that literally dealing with a man she got to go back home to. Now you a sneaky link and shit like that. That's fornication. Now you committed fornication and you both to be put to death. So, you know what I'm saying? No, we don't deal with that, but we're not over righteous when a woman has left this man and now she's talking about she's single and she ain't dealing with nobody, then hey, we'll deal. You know what I'm saying? But there's still fornication, man. But Lord willing, this was edifying. Say shalom and abba.